You know, it's not easy being a Mopar guy in the 21st century. There are so many things going on today in the world of cars, of hot rods, right? That you kind of shut out of. You know, if you're a traditional Mopar guy, and I'm a traditional Mopar guy. And I have my old school fleet, and I have my old school ways, and there's no way I'd change any of those things. I love them, right? But there are so many people out there doing so many different things, you know, going really fast, for cheap, for fun, right? And when you start looking at like your options as, you know, as a Mopar guy, you realize there are no bodies to work with. There's nothing to work with. Like, for instance, once you get past like 1980 or so, you're out of the Aspen and Volare, the F-body era, and you're into just the, you know, the FMJ, you know, the Diplomats and the Grand Furies and whatnot, Fifth Avenues. There's nothing there to work with. And then, you know, Chrysler was the first to ditch all of the rear-wheel drive platform, so it was all K cars and whatnot, up until you get to the modern era. So then you get the current Dodge Chargers and the Challengers. And you know what? Honestly, first off, they're expensive. They're heavy. They're heavy cars. Those things are, I mean, honestly, they're about 1,000 pounds past my limit of what I would consider to be a fun, doable hot rod. And they're not cheap. You know, like I'm here in this junkyard right now, and there's, I don't know, there's got to be 150 Chrysler products here, and there isn't a single Challenger or Charger. People hold on to them. So you could strike them off the list of fast, fun, and cheap. You know, those things represent a major investment. So I mean, if you just want to have old school fun with a Chrysler product, what do? You know, so I'm a child of the 70s, and when I started with all of this, the typical scene was a junkyard just like this, and they would have their Chrysler section, and you'd have Darts and Dusters and Belvederes and Chargers and Challengers and Cudas, and they'd be everywhere, right? And you could have your pick of the litter for $100, right? Any car you want, take it for $100. And then there would be a motor pile, and the motor pile was loaded with big blocks. So you can have anything you wanted off the motor pile for $50, $25 rather. You could actually get a motor out of the car for 50 or 75. So in 1977, when I was, you know, the kid coming into this stuff, like a lot of you young guys are today, you know, it was all my raw material. My you know, roller Mopar body and my big block or 360 or whatever it happened to be, my total investment is going to be under $200. Yeah, you still have to go to the speed shop. You're still going to have to buy your headers and your cam and your intake, you know, your carburetor. You're going to buy all of those things. You're going to spend another $500 or $1,000 on top of that. But the bottom line is that you had a fun street and strip car for next to no money. When you went to a junkyard like this, everything was raw material. Then you look around today and it's like, what do you do with this? What the hell do you do with that? Right? I don't know what you do with that. I don't even know what that is. These cars are Dixie cups. They're disposable. There's no fun to be had. And that's the problem. You start looking at fast, fun, cheap, you know, easy to acquire Chrysler products, and there just aren't any. But if you're a General Motors guy, well, I mean, you got G bodies and you got F bodies and you got S10s for years, right? There's all sorts of stuff that's out there and it's cheap. And if you're a Ford guy, you got your Foxes and the Panthers and all these other. They're out there. There's multitudes of them, right? Fast, cheap, fun. You don't have that with the Chrysler products. You know, as much as I hate to admit it. And the import guys are so lucky. They have so much raw material to work with, right? I mean, the world just literally pukes Hondas up out of the ground, and these guys build these fun cars for next to nothing. May not be your cup of tea, but you know what? They're having fun, and that's what this is all about. So, what's a Chrysler got to do, you know? I'm not about to add anything newer school to my fleet. My fleet is kind of locked in. You know, but I'm dying to work on some of the newer things. There's channels that I follow, like Sloppy Mechanics or Richard Holdner, right? And these guys are having a blast with new stuff, you know, there's new technology. I want to be a part of that. So, what do? I think I have the solution, and we'll be talking about it next week. But yeah, that's it. It's hard being a Mopar guy in the 21st century. You know, the collectors have really they've killed it. The prices of even, I mean, basket cases. You got to see some of the cars we look at. You know, that people won't budge off the price of. Like literally, there's nothing there. You can't work with it. You know, it's like you just sweep it up off the ground. It's trash, but they want top dollar for it. It's no fun. I was lucky enough to acquire what I acquired when I did, and a lot of us old timers are the same way. But for you younger guys, you're kind of shut out of it. You know, unless you got deep pockets. In which case, you're probably not watching this channel. So, what the hell do you do with that, right? Next week, we're going to talk about the new build that we're working on. I'll see you tomorrow.